listeners do love you so much.
The Hollywood scene has witnessed some of the most shocking twists of love in recent years. Some celebrities who many thought were together and that their love was going to be forever suddenly blacked out their partners for the co-stars they met on set. What could have prompted these actions? Were they not happy? These and more were questions many have been asking, but are yet to find answers to. Grab your seat and let's take a sneak peek at 15 celebs who left their partner for their co-star. Number 15, Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher.
You know what's funny is when she was 14 when we started the show. I was like 19, right?
Right.
And they're like, okay, you guys are going to be...
How these couples worked behind the scenes to make things work while also having a flair for their partners seems unbelievable. Nobody expected it, but love sometimes does not have jurisdiction. Mila Kunis and Ashton first met on the set of the 70s show where they played an on-again, off-again couple, Jackie Burkhart and Michael Kelso, but it was not until 15 years later that their initial spark metamorphosed into something deep. Before they reunited, they were in their respective relationships, but completely broke up with their partners. At the brink of 2011, on the 3rd day of January, Mila broke up with her then-boyfriend Macaulay Culkin, with whom she had been dating for 8 years. It was somehow weird because she had, on many grounds, expressed how much she loved him. And while the news was still sinking in, Kutcher's partner Demi Moore filed for divorce in November 17, 2011, throwing him back into a state of singlehood. Although no one could say if it were planned, the opportunity for the duo to make things work for the better was before them, and without hesitation they seized it. They reconnected at the 69th Annual Golden Globe Awards, and the rest, as they say, is history. On July 4, 2015, Ashton and Kutcher made it official and went on to enjoy the great moments they had longed for. Number 14, Daniel Craig and Rachel Weisz. Sometimes you never know what happens between two couples in the next minute. You may think both hearts are together and not know that their relationship is sitting on a time bomb, waiting to explode. It is difficult to understand how Daniel Craig and Rachel Weisz quickly broke off their respective relationships. Craig and Weisz first connected during the 90s in London when they were still up-and-coming actors. They reconnected over a decade later, after being cast as a married couple in Dream House. That's when they saw a future together. At the time of their meeting in 1994, Craig was married to his wife, Fiona Loudon, with whom he shares a daughter, Ella. Weisz, on the other hand, was engaged to her fiancé, Darren Aronofsky. That notwithstanding, they felt something deep for each other, and if there is a better word to use, it was love at first sight. In the late hours of 2010, Weisz had a split from her fiancé, which was many years after Craig had separated from Fiona. Shortly thereafter, they began dating, and the bond between them took a better shape, leading them toward their preferred destination. In 2011, Craig and Weisz secretly got married and have since cherished each other's companionship. "I never thought I would get married," the actress told the Evening Standard. "It was not an ambition of mine, it was the opposite. I couldn't relate to romantic comedies. Marriage seems to be the whole point of them. Then it just happened, happily, at a more mature moment." Number 13, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson.
By this in less fortunate ways and what. And I think our job for those that have is to look to our leaders.
The specialty that breeds in marriage only makes sense when both parties are deeply in love with each other. Anything short of that wouldn't take long before one or both parties switch sides to something that seems favorable to them. The couple, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, is proof that you can only maintain true love if you guard your heart from intruders. Hanks and Wilson first met on the set of ABC's sitcom Bosom Buddies in 1981. It was a purely casual move then, because at the time, Hanks was married to his college sweetheart, Samantha Lewis. Over time, their acquaintance continued to grow, and as it did, the chemistry between them became increasingly clear. Shortly after, Hanks fell out of love with his wife. What we didn't know was that a divorce was around the corner. After 7 years of starved love and reckless abandonment of his main duty, they finalized their separation in 1987. By this time, the flicker between him and Wilson was taking a definite direction, and by the time he popped the real question, she couldn't help but accept. as she wasn't in any other relationship at the time. Hanks and Wilson made their relationship official first in 1986, and after 2 years of dating, they got married in 1988. They have since welcomed their kids, Chester Marlon Hanks and Truman Theodore Hanks. The success of our relationship was a matter of timing, maturity, and our willingness to have an intimate connection, Hanks said. When I married Rita, I thought, this is going to require some change on my part. I won't deny that Providence was part of us finding each other, but our relationship isn't magic, the way it's shown in the movies. Number 12, Sarah Michelle and Freddie Prinze Jr. While the relationship between Sarah Michelle and Freddie Prinze Jr. does make sense, you can't deny the fact that there was an underground play before a switch happened. Though nobody thought about it, it was not until it finally played out that many knew it was an underground work. The Buffy the Vampire Slayer alum and She's All That actor met on the set of the 1997 horror film I Know What You Did Last Summer. However, it wasn't until a few years later, after an accidental date, that the former co-stars became more than friends. From the very first day they met, they saw a possibility of being together. Although they were many years apart from their initial meeting, the connection between them remained intact despite the distance. Before they met and their dating spree took a better shape, Freddie had a thing with the beautiful actress Kimberly McCullough, and they dated from 1996 until 1999. It was within this time frame that Freddie met Michelle, and, just like a movie, Kimberly was kicked out of the scene. Although neither of them was into marriage nor believed in it at first sight, it soon became a necessity. Freddie said that he knew one day they would get married and that he was going to propose, but he didn't know when or how. However, they got engaged in April 2001, and on September 1st, 2002, they got married. They exchanged vows in Mexico at the El Carriz Resort, with friends, well-wishers, and lovers witnessing their union. They welcomed their first child in 2009, and ever since, it has been perfection after perfection. Number 11, Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith.
I told her, we were just talking about that, I said, that look of love that I saw when you all walked onto this carpet, my goodness.
You know, Chad, because we've survived.
Many celebrities have affirmed that they found true love after leaving their former partners. And without exaggeration, the relationship between Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith is a perfect example. The fact that they went from 0 to 100 shows that true love still exists. So, how did they meet? The couple first met in 1994 on the set of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when she auditioned for the role of his on-screen girlfriend, Lisa Wilkes. Within a GIF, Will felt an unusual sensation for her, and all that spun through his mind was making her his wife. At this time, Will was married to his first wife, Shiri Zampino, and together they had welcomed their first child in 1992. What he saw in Jada, no one can exactly tell. However, he never rested until he was satisfied with his actions. Shortly after, they began dating and went public with their relationship in 1995, shutting down the voices of haters. Knowing that he wouldn't be all free in his new relationship, he had only one option: to do away with his first wife, the mother of his first child. In that same year, he divorced her and fell into the arms of Jada unapologetically. In December 1997, Will and Jada tied the knot in Baltimore, Maryland. Since getting married, Will and Jada have expanded their family, welcoming their son Jaden Smith in July 1998 and their daughter Willow Smith in October 2000. Number 10, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt.
No, it's really nice for us. I mean, it's the first really big one where we get to see each other after we've been gone all year. And
for a long time, the Hollywood community has not experienced a rapid shift in ideologies and values since the inception of Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt as a couple. Some are yet to believe that love can turn one's tide so quickly, even without a rethink of how the other person feels. The pair first met in 2003 while portraying the roles of husband and wife in the film Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It was a beautiful experience for the duo, and if no one had ever told you, you would probably have believed they were already married, given how well they played their roles. When they met, Jolie was enjoying being a single mother, and Pitt was still married to Jennifer Aniston. Soon, the chemistry between the co-stars grew so much that the only option they had was to make it official. However, this didn't happen until Pitt had separated from his wife. On January 7, 2005, Pitt and Aniston announced their separation. In a joint statement, they made it clear that their separation was not the result of media speculation, but rather of mutual understanding. Jolie and Pitt dated for several years, and in April 2012, they got engaged. The joy of the moment overtook them, and by August 23, 2014, they tied the knot in an intimate destination wedding. In one of the interviews, Jolie made a shocking revelation about her feelings for Pitt. She said, "I think a few months in, I realized, God, I can't wait to get to work. Anything we had to do with each other, we just found a lot of joy in it together and a lot of real teamwork." They share 6 children, sons Maddox and Pax Thien, and daughters Zahara Marley, Shiloh Nouvelle, and twins Knox Leon and Vivian Marceline. Number 9. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
It was hard not to love the movie because you guys are so beautiful to watch that I was just like,
well, hello.
The story of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds is well known and brings a certain unease to the Hollywood scene. Sometimes trusting someone too much may be the reason you keep getting hurt. The couple first met on the set of Green Lantern in 2010, but didn't develop a romantic relationship until a year later. At this time, both were still contemplating how not to ruin what they had with their former partners, so they maintained a low profile. At the time, Blake was in a relationship with her Gossip Girl co-star, Penn Badgley, while Ryan himself was still in the loving arms of his beautiful wife, Scarlett Johansson. About a year after Green Lantern had come and gone, and both were single, they went on a double date. She was on a date with another guy, and I was on a date with another girl, and it was like the most awkward date for the respective parties because we were just like fireworks coming across, Reynolds said. As time went on, the pair began to see each other more often, reassuring themselves that things would get better if they continued at this pace. And just as they wished, it came to pass. In 2010, they ended their relationships with their respective partners and moved forward with their romance. Reynolds and Blake began dating in 2011, and on September 9, 2012, they got married. Ever since then, they have had a blissful marriage and by all standards have been having a good time. As of today, they share 4 children, James, Inez, Betty, and Olin. Number 8. Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemens. Over the years, some celebrities have shut down their conscience on numerous occasions. The relationship between Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemens has confirmed this. Kirsten's decision not to think it was absurd to get into a relationship while twisting the fate of love with someone else will continue to baffle everyone. Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemens first worked together in 2015 when they played a married couple in Season 2 of the FX hit series Fargo. While on set, they caught each other's attention, but did not take it further until about a year and a half later. Before they met in 2015, Dunst was in a relationship with her on-the-road co-star, Garrett Hedlund, from 2012 to 2016. So while she was in this relationship, she was still having a thing with Fargo before it became official. Though she was engaged to Hedlund at the time, she eventually broke up with him and moved on with Fargo. The relationship was, in all senses, free and fair, and by 2017, they got engaged. At this point, they were loving everything about their relationship, and because they didn't want anything to stop them abruptly, they tied the knot on July 22. Together, they share beautiful kids, Ennis Howard and James Robert. Number 7. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. Everyone indeed has their choices, and to the surprise of movie lovers, Jennifer's choice of man still seems to overwhelm the Hollywood critic community. Why did she have to go back to him? Well, you never can tell. Beauty is truly in the eyes of the beholder. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck first had a conversation in 2002, and when they could not settle their differences during their 2 years of dating, they ended their engagement in 2004. Both pursued other relationships and started families of their own. Due to the excessive media attention surrounding our wedding, we have decided to postpone the date, Affleck and Lopez said in the statement. When we found ourselves seriously contemplating hiring 3 separate decoy brides at 3 different locations, we realized that something was awry. The on-the-floor singer was married to Mark Anthony from 2004 to 2014, and they are parents to twins, Max and Emmy. Meanwhile, the Deepwater actor was married to Jennifer Garner from 2005 to 2018, and they have 3 kids together, daughters Violet and Serafina and son Samuel. In April 2021, they were spotted together again after their split, and this time, it was clear that it was going to last. Many speculations circulated at the time, and to confirm the rumors, the duo continued to release pictures of themselves frolicking in each other's arms. Shortly after they went public with their rekindled romance, in July 2022, they wed. The wedding was a bridge of happiness and the rekindling of lost virtues, as the couple smiled all through, as if they had won the lottery. It's a beautiful outcome that this has happened in this way at this time in our lives, where we can really appreciate and celebrate each other and respect each other, continued Lopez. We always did, but we have even more appreciation because we know that life can take you in different directions. She added, "We have been in the game, in the public eye long enough to know who we are as people and what really matters and what doesn't matter. We have kids and we respect each other. We really live our lives in a way we can be proud of and our kids can be proud of us. We're just operating from a place of love and respect for everyone in our lives, and that is very important to us. We know what the truth is and we hold it sacred." Number 6, Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton.
It's hard to believe that I'm back at the Grammys, but not just that, but with Blake Shelton. That's like my favorite human being. I get to do.
Love can sometimes lead to awkward situations without considering whether the recipient is hurt or not. And with a keen eye, you can see some of those flaws in this couple's relationship. The couple first met while serving as coaches on The Voice in 2014. At the time, Stefani was married to Gavin Rossdale, and Shelton was married to fellow country singer Miranda Lambert. The ball was still not in their court at this time, so they patiently waited for everything to fall into place. After their wishes, Stefani went her separate ways from her husband in August 2015, while Shelton and Lambert announced that it was over between them. That same year, they began dating, and within the twinkle of an eye, they went so deep into each other that they couldn't leave each other. They dated for 5 years, and on July 3, 2021, they got married in grand style. Shelton and Stefani exchanged vows at the country singer's Tishomingo Ranch. Number 5, Lauren Morelli and Samira Wiley.
Right in the middle, please. Come on. Right side, right side. Right here, please.
Falling in love sometimes can be crazy, and if you don't have control of your steps, you may slip into the arms of someone you never imagined in your wildest dreams. The relationship between this couple seems perfect. However, it all started on an awkward note. The couple first met in December 2012 when they began filming the Netflix series, where Morelli was a lead writer and Wiley played the character Pussy Washington. Morelli was writing a few scenes for Wiley, and after spending time together, they found that they had an immediate connection. Often they vibed, and as the days went by, you could tell they were heading somewhere meaningful. At the time, Morelli was married to her husband, Steve Basilone, and when she saw that she couldn't shuttle between his affairs and that of her newfound love, she called it quits in September 2014. I remember those first months with her, trying to figure out her journey with her own sexuality, feeling like she picked me as the person she was going to talk to about all of it, she said. And it wasn't sexual, it was just like a friend. There was something deeply intimate about that, whether there was sexual tension there or not. In October 2016, Morelli proposed to Wiley, and in 2017, they made it official. The two tied the knot in Palm Springs, California, and in a clear expression, it was worth it. On May 9, 2021, the couple announced the birth of their first child together, and they have since been blessed in all ramifications. Number 4, Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie.
One day we moved in.
Yeah. She sort of adopted me in a lot of ways. So we've already had one.
Many things are bound to happen on set if someone decides to stray from the boundaries they have set for themselves. How this couple started as a pair is one story that sounds funny, but is still true. Bob Thornton and Laura Dern, at the time of his switch, were still together, but when he couldn't hold himself, he gave in to temptation. Thornton and Jolie met on set in 1999 while filming Pushing Tin. It was a real connection they felt at the time, because they were nonetheless having a good time with themselves. The relationship between Dern and Thornton ended abruptly from that set, as she was always filming at the time. According to Dern, the actor moved out of their home with no explanation and ghosted her. The next thing she knew, he was married to Jolie. "I left our home to work on a movie, and while I was away, my boyfriend got married, and I've never heard from him again," Dern told Talk magazine in 2000. "It's like a sudden death. There has been no closure or clarity for anyone. To some extent, it looked like Jolie was waiting for this moment, and she seized it without wasting any time so she wouldn't have to blame herself later. Just like the speed of light, Thornton and Jolie got married in 2000, confirming the story that they were actually in love. The newlyweds were never shy about their relationship. They would often walk the red carpet hand in hand, while famously wearing vials of each other's blood around their necks. The necklaces were a very simple thing. Hey, let's poke our fingers with a pen and smear a little blood on there, and when we're away from each other, we'll wear the necklace. It was that easy, he explained last year. Number 3, Ryan Phillippe and Abby Cornish.
How does it feel to have your film, Miranda's Victim, opening the Santa Barbara International Film Festival?
It's a great honor, of course. I've had,
While the Hollywood scene has often graced beautiful couples, you could say that Ryan and Cornish are a perfect example of it. But did they start well? How did it begin? The shooter star began dating Reese Witherspoon in 1997 after meeting on the set of Cruel Intentions. They wed 2 years later in South Carolina and welcomed daughter Ava and son Deacon in September 1999 and October 2003, respectively. They were enjoying their marriage until Abby Cornish came onto the scene. Cornish and Phillippe met on the set of the movie Stop Loss, and it was as if they both charmed each other. Love grew almost indefinitely, and both parties displayed what they felt from within. It was so strong that they couldn't go a day or two without seeing each other, and just to legalize what they felt, they made it official. This, for many reasons, received backlash, as many had said that Cornish was the mastermind behind the divorce between Phillippe and Witherspoon. However, Phillippe came to her defense admirably. In 2008, Phillippe hit back at the cheating rumors, stating that he never cheated on Witherspoon. He also said it was unfair for people to go after Cornish and that his marriage to Witherspoon had difficulties before they announced their divorce. Shortly after, cheating rumors began to swirl again, and the once revered relationship was brought to a halt after being together for 4 years. Number 2, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's relationship is complicated, as they didn't start on a clean slate. They met while having flings with other people. Depp and Heard met on the set of their shared 2011 film, The Rum Diary. They were each linked to other people at the time. Depp was in a long-term relationship with French musician and actress Vanessa Paradis, while Heard was dating photographer Tasia Van Rai. Yet, both stars have said that there was undeniable chemistry between them. It was as if everything should start from a proper note, but it couldn't because they were both holding on to their former spouses. Finally, there was light at the end of the tunnel, as the highly anticipated event was now taking center stage. In June 26, 2012, Johnny Depp split from Vanessa Paradis, and almost immediately, Heard did away with her former partner. In March 2014, Depp and Amber got engaged in a lavish engagement party at the time. You could tell they were enjoying themselves, and on February 3, 2015, they tied the knot. After their marriage, Depp never failed to applaud his wife for what she represented in his life. One time, he called himself a lucky man, saying, "We connect on a lot of levels, but the first thing that really got me was that she's an aficionado of the blues. I would play a song, some old obscure blues song, and she knew what it was." He continued, "She's very, very literate. She's a voracious reader, as I've always been, so we connected on that as well. And she's kind of pretty," he joked. "I'm a lucky man." However, this relationship didn't end well either. Number 1, Meg Ryan and Russell Crowe.
You and Tom Hanks together.
He's so cute, isn't he? He's so good and sweet. He's got like this much to do in the movie, but he just hits it out of the park.
Meg's undying love for Russell Crowe prompted her to leave everything that stopped their intimacy, including her former partner. Meg Ryan and Russell Crowe first met in 2000, where they both played distinctive roles in the 2000 film Proof of Life. As her marriage was ending with Dennis Quaid, Crowe soon came into the scene, and guess what? She wanted him. After her divorce, there was a lot of gossip about Crowe and Meg Ryan dating, and the media branded her a cheater, which hurt her career, given her wholesome image. The director of Proof of Life, Taylor Hackford, even claimed that their affair was directly responsible for the film flopping at the box office. "I think he took a big hit, but Russell didn't break up the marriage," she told InStyle. "He was there at the end, but it wasn't his fault. I was a mess. I hurt him too in the end. I couldn't be in another long relationship. It wasn't the time for that," so I had to move. It was a great story. But what wasn't part of the story was the reality of my marriage for 9 years. Dennis was not faithful to me for a long time, and that was very painful. I found out more about that once I was divorced. However, Meg didn't allow that to deter her, as she had already made up her mind to fall uncontrollably into Crow's arms. So they began to see each other, dating from 1999 to 2001. It was certainly a good bargain for Meg, as she didn't care about anything but her happiness and the well-being of her relationship. Which of these celebrity marriages was a huge turnoff for you, and why is that so? Please let us know in the comments. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Before you go, click on the video displayed on your screen. Thanks for watching.